We continue in Genesis chapter 25. Some time must have passed by when we were shown about the favoritism of Esau and Jacob. They were favored by their mom and dad. Each one had their own favorite. And you know what? Favoritism in a spiritual home, in a Christian home, really leads to disaster, doesn't it? But now we continue. We continue in Genesis chapter 25, verses 20 to 24. It's a sad story, really. But, well, let's see. And Jacob, it says here, sawed pottage. And Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, "Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint." And therefore was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, "Sell me this day thy birthright." And Esau said, "Behold, I am at the point to die. And what profit shall this birthright do to me?" And Jacob said, "Swear to me this day." And he swore unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Now, folks, it's easy to read through this and say, whoa, Jacob did a real number on Esau. Oh boy, I feel sorry for Esau. Look what Jacob did. It's really not that simple. Let's unpack this and see, and I'll show you what I mean. And Jacob sawed pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. Now that's what the King James says, right? Now, as a child in a German home, I'll talk about myself for a moment, I often found my mother simmering a delicious red lentil soup on the stove. It was wonderfully seasoned. Oh, and it smelled so heavenly. And as soon as I sat at the table, she served me a bowl of thick red lentil. It was like a stew, you know, like when you eat chili. And with it, she would give me a buttered, still warm, crusty dinner roll. Oh man, it was delicious. You see, those were the days. Those really were the days. I still remember it. So Esau must have smelt something similar. As he returned from his hard day's work in the field, exhausted. Well, let's continue. Since verses 30 to 33 are mostly an account of what was said, I'll attempt to explain this in terms we can understand. He said, "Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint." Now, in the interlinear Hebrew, yes, I actually have that here, Hebrew and English side by side. The word pottage isn't even there. If you have any Bible, or especially the King James, you'll find that in italics. So the word pottage isn't even there. So how would I read it? The word, okay, it comes out as red stuff. We'd probably say, oh, could you give me some of that red, whatever it is to eat? I'm famished and it smells delicious. And the Bible said that from then on, Esau's nickname was Edom, Edom. And in Hebrew, that means red. Maybe the fact he was red at birth may also have had something to do with it, right? But no, this was the deciding moment when Esau's other name was Edom. Edom. Now, many commentators believe that what happened next showed Jacob's evil and scheming nature as a usurper. But folks, I really disagree. I strongly disagree. I believe since they were twins, Jacob asked Esau jokingly, you know what? I'll give this to you eat if you only sell me your birthright. See, they were twins. They were born basically at the same time. And yet Esau was given, since he emerged first, the right of the firstborn. You know that? So we have all done something similar, haven't we? I remember someone asking me for some ice cream that I was scooping at the table. I'll give you ice cream if you pay me $1 million, I said. And the person said, I'll pay anything, just give me some of that ice cream. The long and short of it is I never did get that $1 million. So instead of anything, Esau said, I'm starving to death. Really, I'm starving to death. What good is that birthright to me? Huh? It must have surely amazed Jacob that Esau was serious. He clearly did not fully comprehend the profound importance of that position. Oh, I want to take a break here for a moment. The position of that birthright was to carry on the covenant God made to Abraham and then to Isaac. That covenant of the righteous line that was to inhabit Canaan. Oh, to inhabit the land promised to Abraham. There was a lot involved in that birthright. After all, when we hear God being mentioned, how is he mentioned? I am the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. It meant a lot. God said, your descendants will produce kings and queens. It will be like the stars in number. And you know what? Esau was the firstborn, got the right of the firstborn to carry on that covenant. Obviously, he really didn't think much of it, did he? So, Esau, believe it or not, well, we do believe it because we just read it. Esau actually agreed to this absurd transaction, therefore making it more clear that he was totally unqualified to hold that position. So, To close the deal, Jacob said, "Swear to me this day." And Esau swore to him. To ensure the recognition of this agreement, some sort of token must have been exchanged. But the fact remained. Esau sold his birthright to Jacob. Now in Hebrew, the word sold is the same word for surrender. So according to our understanding, it would read, Esau surrendered the birthright to Jacob. So we close with verse 34. Then Jacob gave Esau that wonderful meal, bread and pottage of lentils. Esau ate and drank and rose up, went his way, and thus Esau despised his birthright. The fact is that Esau he loved and he lived for the moment and instant gratification. I need it now. Does that sound familiar? I want it now. He simply consumed, this is Esau, he simply consumed a scrumptious meal, got up, and went his way, seemingly without a care in the world. In essence, Esau despised his birthright, just like the Bible said. Now let's examine what Jacob must have thought. Jacob must have thought that he did the right thing. Rebekah surely must have shared with Jacob what God had prophesied over him. My argument is this: Jacob should have simply trusted God to work things out according to his will and promises, rather than taking advantage of the moment and devising his own means, to help God along, Hey, wait a minute, the end really does justify the means, doesn't it? After all, Jacob really meant it for good. Esau didn't deserve it. But the truth is, dear listener, the truth is that we all do what Jacob did. We all underestimate God too often in keeping his promises and staying faithful to his word. Folks, God is good. He is good all the time. And he is faithful.